Right, welcome back to a new video. Hopefully you saw where I left off the last video. I got too late to carry on. Wife was moaning a little bit because I needed to start grinding again. So in this video what I'm going to do, get the wiper motor removed out the way. Cut a section of that front, whatever it is. It's like another firewall. And do the same on this side. The inner wing cut a little bit. And we'll make space to get in the hinges. Once that's done, we'll lower the car back down again, and hopefully this time we're going to slide it into its finished position and start jacking up the back. In fact, no, what we'll do first is I'll cut out the back tunnel area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that full turret section I talked about yesterday, right near enough up to the top, and we'll work from there. So then we've got a bit of flexibility in where the car's going to go. And then obviously we can mock up roughly where the subframe's going to sit for levels. But it should be pretty straightforward because essentially what I'm going to be doing is just leveling the two floors. And from what it looks like, that's going to make it work pretty flawlessly. And it's going to give the car a really nice drop as well from standard. So I'll crack on with this and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Alright, fair bit of messing again, but I really need to tidy this garage up. I'll just show you how it sits. So if I show you from up here, the wheel is pretty much central now. I have got a little bit of flexibility. Obviously, I've got the wing on that side, so I can't show you, but basically, I've still got a couple of centimetres to adjust it. On the other side I'm touching on this because I've not taken as much away from the A-post, so I need to trim a bit off the A-post and unpick all this section. So we'll get that done, but for now what I'm going to do is take some measurements. You might not have seen on the time lapse, I've cut out the rear tubs, or a section of them anyway, so I'm going to have to refabricate them. And I'm going to lift up the car, or lift up the frame, the chassis of the MX-5 to roughly where it needs to be and see where we lie floor level. Because if you look at the floor level at the front, we're getting pretty close. So that's the floor there. And it's relatively level if you look at the front there to the front of the MX-5. So that's the MX-5 there, and that's the Escort. So by the time I've lifted up the back, I'll be able to level them off. And that's what clearance we've got on the Escort at the front. So that for me, obviously it drops down a bit at the back, but I think that's a decent height. And with coilovers, we'll be able to drop down another inch or two as well. So I'll get the back jacked up of the MX-5 and then we can have a bit of a play. But I can go a little bit lower as well with the body, so I can take the body lower, but I don't want to drop my chassis legs. What I really don't want to do is drop my bottom chassis leg of the cabriolet, the extra reinforcing structure, lower than the MX-5. I'm happy to have it just as low, but I don't want to go lower. So I'll get the back jacked up and then we'll have a look where we're at. Right, so as you can see, I've now pulled the front end of the MX-5 and obviously the back out from under the Escort. So I'll show you what my next jobs are. I need to make that floor section there on that side. So that's a job that I need to get done. I can take that support bar off because now I've got the tunnel in, that is absolutely bang on solid. It is not going anywhere, and we're supported at the back. Inside here, I need to unpick all the floor all the way around. I'm going to leave these hinge positions in for now on both sides. I'm just going to mirror where I've chopped on each side, and I need to pull the shocks out as well, and I need to unpick all the way around, put a piece in there on both sides flat, but I'll do that once we've test fitted the subframe. I need to go all the way around there, clean up the chassis rails. We need to take this section off here and extend this chassis rail, so I'll chop the chassis rail there and remake. So we're going to have to try and make these folds that all the way to the back. You can see now that it's cut out where I've welded that, which is not the most fantastic job. Need to clean the seam seal around here and unpick the floor off that. You saw when it was in, I also need to take this off, so we need to clean off these welds to get off that, even though that's not going to be in the way. And that's the same on both sides. The back end's okay. The front we just need to clean and de-rust. I did cut in with the reciprocator into that A-pillar, so obviously I need to weld that up, and I did it a tiny bit on that side, so we'll weld that up as well. And where the speaker grills were, we need to unpick that off as well. I'll also clean that all back to bare metal, because other than where the hinge points are, I'll probably be putting a new piece in to tie that into the Mazda. This side is pretty clean, so we'll just clean up that and flush it off. This side, we still need to take the bracket off. The floor just wants cleaning up, straightening up a little bit, and getting ready to put some spot welds on it, and then cutting it back enough so I can put a seam weld all the way up against the inner sill, so that that's bang on solid. That side again, that needs cutting out. I'm not sure whether to try and remake some. In fact, I can't remake any jacking points because I'm extending the floor. So I'll decide what to do with that afterwards. What I'm gonna have to do is try and take that round and flick it up to meet up with this section, or once it's off, maybe we try and take it so the floor goes up that way. I'll decide that afterwards. So much work to do. Every time it feels like I'm getting somewhere, another massive thing happens. Like, we've got it sized up, or I got it sized up, but now it's even harder, because it's just opened up so many more jobs that need doing, and the tedious jobs like unpicking welds and cutting out bits of metal, finding rust and repairing the rust. I'm unsure on here. I'm thinking that's a really nice solid section, so I'm thinking just flushing that off. I do need to cut it back because I need a bit more height, but I'm not sure whether to just cut it off flush. In fact, yeah, I'll probably just cut it off flush and put a piece in all the way around, and in the piece that we put in there we can always put a couple of beads in to add a bit of strength, because there's none in it at the moment. There's a few bits of sections like that. I might as well take the seat mounting points off, thinking about it, because the floor of the MX-5 is right up here, so I might as well just cut them out. They're going to serve no purpose whatsoever. So I don't even know where to start now. Ripping it to bits was one thing, but there's that much now to do. I feel half lost. When it was together, it felt like somewhere. I felt like I was up to somewhere. So I suppose I'm going to call it a day soon, it's Friday night now, but it's coming up to bank holiday weekend, so I've got Saturday, Sunday and Monday on it. So if Saturday I can get everything unpicked off this, all the metal cleaned up, I feel like I'll be getting somewhere. Then we're sort of getting ready to start getting bits into place. Oh, let me show you something on the Mazda. So on the front here, this here just wants cutting just there and pinching together a little bit, just to add a little bit of space. So if I just pinch that up, the front, I'm not too sure whether I'm going to be keeping or not now. I'd like to as much as possible because all the ABS lines run there and it just keeps it standard. But this is how the Escort's looking. Oh, at the front here, obviously we need to unpick that and repair that section, which I'll do, even though you can't see it, I'll do it seamlessly. And then we'll flush this off. And what I'll do is I'll drill some holes in it so I can spot weld up to each inner section as well. So that'll be really solid and it'll just add that little bit more protection. And then it gives me an option to connect that up to the front of the MX-5 and will be absolutely solid. This inner sill here is in quite a nice position actually, and by the time it's lifted up and then we've flushed all that off, it should work nicely. And again, do the same on the other side. Underneath, where was it going? The A-pillar has got this structural section on it, and believe it or not, that's factory. Looks terrible. I'm going to chop that off about there and maybe there, and the same on that side. It'll give me a little bit more clearance as well. This obviously we need to try and keep because there's a lot of strength in there. That's what's pretty much holding the car together. Alright, so I've just been staring at this now for a good half hour, an hour. I have tidied the place up, as you can see, so I feel a bit better when I come out tomorrow. What I've decided I'm going to do, because what I was going to do, if you remember, it's not long ago, I was going to extend this and put an L piece on and then run the floor from there up to the steel on there. But then, just been thinking now, because obviously what I need to do is extend to the back. I need to remake all that anyway, do the inner sill and sort all that section out. Same on that side. But what I just thought is, I've got a spare 1.6mm 3m 50x50 box section. So what I'll do is I'll just unpick all that, unpick all the inner, and it's pretty much exactly 1.5 meters from there right to the end. So I'll just put two 50x50 box sections in. It'll still have all of its weeps for the water channels. I'll just lose that tiny little lip there. So I'm thinking that's going to be my best bet. This end I'll just flush off with the plate, which is going to be going up to there, and that can then be tied in at that end and all hidden in the floor space. And obviously it'll be dead strong because we've got 50x50 box tied right into the A-post. And at the back I'll cut a curve so I can curve it up there, and then the floor will just run across, and it'll be a really good place as well to tie in the back of the chassis leg as well. And potentially I could throw a 50x50 box across sort of here to the chassis rail and maybe at the front as well, make it a bit of a ladder chassis. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I reckon that's going to be the strongest way, and it's a bit of side protection as well. and it's below floor level, so it's not in a dangerous position or anything like that. So I'll unpick them tomorrow, sort the sills out. I think that's going to be tomorrow's job. And then I've got a perfectly level floor to level off with the Mazda floor as well, which I think will be good as well. And the idea I've got is they're going to both be the same level anyway. The bottom of this, which is the bottom of the cabriolet bit, which is normally lower than the normal part of the car. Normally the cars, I think, only go to there. That's like as low as the cars go. So the bottom of this is going to be the bottom of them ones as well. So that's what I'm going with.